Today I'm going to be updating you guys on my pregnancy so far. I'm 26 weeks and 5 days. So I'm going to be updating about the first trimester, the second trimester, all my symptoms, and the big doctor appointments. So the first trimester, my symptoms were thirst, hunger, extreme hunger, vivid dreams, exhaustion. That's about it. And of course I go every 4 weeks for an appointment, a checkup. So at my checkups they check for UTIs and he just asks how I'm doing. So the first trimester, not very much went on. I just had a few symptoms. I think the toughest symptom for me during my first trimester was exhaustion. I wouldn't clean the house because I was so tired. I'd take naps, I'd come home asleep, go to sleep early, wake up late. So the second trimester, which is what I'm in right now, has been the most eventful. I got my 17-week scan because I had went in for ovary pain and they were concerned that I might have had cysts, which I didn't, but I got to confirm that we are having a little boy with that scan, and it was very obvious. He did a 3D scan for us to try to look at his face, but he'd cover one side of his face and then she'd move the angle to where it'd be on the other side of his face, and then he'd cover that side of the face. He does not like pictures. When I was 20 weeks exactly, I was visiting my uncle in the hospital, and it was a really stressful time for my family. The doctor was talking to us about basically what he had was COPD, and they were explaining it to me and my grandma, my aunt, and I just got really hot, and we were standing in the hallway, and I remember I'm getting dizzy. I reached out to my grandma, and she said, "Oh, you look pale," and then I don't remember anything after that. In my head, I couldn't hear anything, I couldn't see anything, and there were just bright white lights everywhere, and I slowly started being able to hear again. I kept hearing, "Sky, Sky, wake up, look at me." I finally opened my eyes and I could see, and this doctor was running at me and said, "Oh, she might have had a seizure. Is she having a seizure?" And I was like, "What?" And I was on my knees. I fell to my knees, and I just remember saying, "Can I please get up? My ankles hurt so bad." And I was like, "What happened?" So they put me in a wheelchair, and a nurse took my blood sugar levels. Aunt was yelling, "She's pregnant, she's pregnant." And then they asked how far along I was. I said 20 weeks, and they said, "We need to get you in right away. We need to check on the baby." So they admitted me and put me right across the hall from my uncle, and my grandma stayed with me, and they checked the heart tones of the baby and everything was okay. And I was still kind of shaken up about it, and I didn't want to put any more stress on my grandma because she was already going through plenty. And I just kept apologizing. I was like, "Sorry that happened. I'm sorry." And she told the doctor that when I had said that I was getting dizzy, that I turned pale right away and my eyes rolled back in my head, but my eyes were still open, and I just fell backwards. But they caught me and put me to my knees. At first they had thought I had a seizure, which of course scared the crap out of me being pregnant. And I texted my husband right away. I was like, "You need to come to the hospital. They think I might have had a seizure." I didn't, thankfully. The doctor thought that I was just dehydrated, which I think is complete bullcrap because I drink so much water in a day, it's not even funny. They did give me fluids just in case. It didn't really help at all. I just didn't feel like myself for the rest of the day. That was a really scary moment, and I'm glad I didn't have a seizure. I'm glad I was just dehydrated. So then my next appointment was my anatomy scan appointment, and everything came back normal. He's looking great. He weighed a pound exactly at 22 weeks, And um, at that point, my doctor recommended that I need to start putting on a pound a week, which seems absolutely crazy. 22 weeks to 40 weeks. It's been really stressful on me, but thankfully I've got it. I've put on a pound a week, sometimes even more. My very last appointment I went to was on last Monday, and I did the glucose test, and I'm assuming everything is fine because they didn't call me. The drink was not bad at all. Everybody was like, oh, it tastes so gross, but it was mostly afterwards. I kind of didn't feel really good. I mean, it's just a bunch of sugar. It's not going to make anybody feel good. So I had to eat right after I left. These are going to be my symptoms for the second trimester. So the exhaustion kind of went away for a couple of weeks, probably about a month, which was awesome. I started getting dizzy spells and I'd be lightheaded. I did have cravings for a little while. I was craving chocolate milk, breakfast pizza, donuts. My symptoms lately, exhaustion is back. I am tired 24/7 and it's really, really annoying. I also, some days I'm really hungry, some days I'm not hungry at all. So that's frustrating because I am supposed to be putting on a pound a week, and some weeks I put on 2 or 3 pounds, and other weeks I don't put on any weight. Food aversions have been terrible. I used to eat yogurt, toast, and oatmeal in the morning. All of those make me gag. I can eat like maybe 2 bites without wanting to puke. I never do puke. A lot of meats have been making me sick. Once again, I don't actually puke, but just smelling them, looking at them, it just is so disgusting right now. And same with bananas for some reason. I still have the vivid dreams. Most of the time they're nightmares, and most of the time they're really terrible nightmares. I think that's all the symptoms I've had. I've had a pretty great pregnancy. Oh, except for Braxton Hicks. At one point I was getting Braxton Hicks regularly, like every day. Round ligament pain has been the worst symptom. I think it's probably the worst symptom for anybody besides morning sickness. I could not imagine having that. But the round ligament pain, sometimes if I get up too quickly, I just am over in pain. It hurts so bad. So now I'm going to talk about movement. So I started feeling him actually at 14 weeks. They weren't kicks, they weren't obvious movements, but it was like a tickle, like popcorn. At exactly 17 weeks, he kicked 3 times, and that was the first time that I felt real kicks. It was crazy to me. I started bawling, and Gunnar was downstairs sleeping because he had night calving duty, so he was sleeping, and it was like 10 p.m. and I texted him and I said, oh my gosh, baby Bobcat just kicked. He wasn't very strong yet. He was still super small, and after that I didn't feel him on a regular basis, but now I feel him all the time. You can see him rolling in my stomach. You can see actual kicks. You can see punches. He's anywhere from like my panty line up into my ribs. And it's so amazing. Me and the baby like to play this game where I like poke my belly 3 times and then he kicks, and then I poke and he kicks. And lately he hasn't been moving as much. I think it's because he's just growing and sleeping more. Because when he's growing, I'm hungry, and I have been the past week or so, which is when he hasn't been moving as much. But last night before bed, my husband poked him just to see if he'd wake up, and he did. And he kicked probably like 4 or 5 times in a row, and that's the most Gunnar has ever felt him at a time. Normally it's just 1 kick and that's it. That was a really cool experience. And another thing, my body's changing. My boobs have grown from a B to a D. TMI, but it's just a part of pregnancy, I guess. And My stomach obviously has gotten way bigger and it's getting super tight and it's uncomfortable, especially at night because I can't sleep. I can barely even lift myself to move to my other side because my stomach is so tight. It feels like I've done ab workouts for hours a day. I think I covered everything. I went through my appointments, my symptoms in the first and second trimester, the movements, how much he weighed. I'm sorry that I just started my channel, so I had to catch you guys up on a lot of stuff that has gone on in such a short amount of time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video.